Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. We have reached Monday. A lot of people didn't think this Gainesville Regional would go this far. The Florida Gators, the number 3 national seed, taking on the shocker Bethune-Cookman, the 3 seed out of the MEAC Conference. This looked like what would certainly be a matchup between 2 great pitching staffs in Florida and South Florida. But Bethune-Cookman had other ideas, beating both teams yesterday. First, knocking off the Bulls by a score of 5-2, and then knocking off the Florida Gators and the shocker yesterday with a final score of 10-6. And with that, we say hello and welcome Mike Morgan alongside Nick Belmonte. And overall, Nick, when you take a look at what has happened here, it has been surprising to say the least. Bethune-Cookman, we've had some great stories already in this NCAA tournament. Davidson tops the list. Bethune-Cookman could be right there with a win today.
Well, let me tell you something. Bethune-Cookman has outplayed the higher seeds. And Jason Beverlin, their coach, he's got them so loose, it's like they're playing for the post-game snow cone instead of a regional. That's how loose this group is. Look at them. From the day they got here, they're saying, hey, we got nothing to lose. We'll just play our game.
Look at those numbers. First 15 appearances, just 2-30 in the NCAA tournament. They've already won 3 games here this weekend. They're trying to become the first MEAC team ever to get to a super regional. The story hasn't been all about Bethune-Cookman, though. It's been about Florida and what has gone wrong. And what has gone wrong for the Gators, primarily, Nick, has been at the plate.
Yeah, they're going to get the bats going. And setting the tone at the top of the order is going to be key. This team is built for close games like this, however. They've won 17 one-run games.
Can the Gators make it to their 3rd consecutive Super Regional, or can Bethune-Cookman continue to make history? We'll find out when we return from Gainesville.
Being a part of the Southeastern Conference, it means more than you might think. It means the heart of a home, the heart of campus, in the heart of town, in the heart of an entire state. It means A1. And A2. It means all together and all in the family. Whatever it is, here, it just means more.
Change is important. We care about the things that matter most to you. That's why we transformed the customer experience. A smiling face, a new way of connecting, a new meaning of service, way of spending time together. We don't just sell cars and trucks. We're about you. That is information through innovation. I'm Al Young, and this is Wayne Akers Ford.
The NCAA Baseball Regionals is presented by the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet?
Game number 7 of this Gainesville Regional, and it's the boys from Daytona who have stolen the show. Bethune-Cookman not only picking up big wins, historical wins for the program and for the conference that they play in, but having the most fun of any regional team that I have ever seen, Nick. I mean, they have been beyond jovial. They have been beyond happy. They're setting pranks left and right. They're doing all types of choreographed dances. Of course, you had one player celebrating a 350-foot single. That didn't please their head coach very much. But they have been a blast to follow, and they'll see if they can keep this magical ride alive today. Tyler Kroll, who we saw on Friday out of the bullpen, will get a rare start. You see his numbers on the season. That's obviously for both teams, Nick. It's all hands on deck.
Yeah, absolutely. 88 miles an hour. He tops out the fastball. It's a 4-seam fastball. Pitches backwards, which means a lot of off-speed first. And when he's going good, he commands both the curve and the fastball.
And he will face a Florida lineup that had really heated up at the end of the regular season, but has struggled mightily. India, Guthrie, Schwartz, Maldonado, Rivera, Langworthy. Brady Singer is the pitcher right now in the DH spot, but his time span in the starting lineup will last about as long as Frank Stallone's singing career. That's just a strategical move that'll be replaced by a pinch hitter soon. Jonathan India, one of the best bats in this Florida lineup, but he has struggled.
Now, at the top of the order, this is where they need improvement. The Gators have struggled getting men on early and putting pressure on the defense.
India just 2 for 12 this weekend. He, along with Nelson Maldonado, two of their top hitters, a combined 3 for 24. And that'll help his confidence to get going as he sprays one to right for a base hit. Defensive look for Bethune-Cookman, and the story here has really been that outfield. It seems like every game, Lou, Heron, or Kyle Corbin make a highlight catch. Danny Rodriguez has been great at first as well.
Yeah, I mean, Heron's been fantastic. Not just catching the ball, but threw out a runner yesterday in a big, crucial spot. And that's huge for the Gators, getting that leadoff man on. Kind of calms the nerves in that dugout.
Gators were held to just 2 runs on 5 hits last night in the loss to Bethune-Cookman.
Look for Gators possibly to challenge. 9 for 9 in stolen bases. The bonus, the catcher has only thrown out 19% of the runners that have tried to steal against him. And I think the Gators need to attack, be aggressive, play their game, not worry about the pressure of what this all means. Kevin O'Sullivan felt very confident, spoke to him briefly before the game, that they'll get it done today.
Off the plate outside to the Gators shortstop. These are all starters for the Florida lineup, and you see a lot of 1-fer and 2-fers in there, including from some of their top hitters like Maldonado in India.
Yeah, the key there is the top 2, and then Maldonado, who has been a 3 and 4 hole hitter. They need production there.
And Maldonado's really been their most consistent hitter all season long, so it's very unlike him. You see Maldonado with a bat right now. He's actually hitting cleanup today for Florida. It's the first time the Gators have been in a Game 7 of a regional since 2002 when they lost to Miami, who a week later would lose at South Carolina in a super regional. Runner on the go, pitch is driven, left center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. And the Gators have the first 2 aboard.
Well, what happens right here, Guthrie gets the base hit. India's going on the pitch, but once he hears contact, then he had to find the ball. And at this point, you're supposed to pick up your coach. He's not sure if it's going to land or not, kind of got caught in between. Had he read it, he would have been at third if he read it earlier. But Gators in business.
And now J.J. Schwartz, the top power hitter.
This is exactly the start the Gators wanted. That off-speed pitch right there, that's what I'm talking about. He's going to pitch him back where it's off-speed early in the count.
Schwartz 3 for 12 in this regional. He has the 1 Gator home run. Really, nothing has come easy for Florida, not just against Bethune-Cookman in the loss last night, but even in their 2 wins.
And Bethune-Cookman, they're going to play this inning by inning, hitter by hitter. Jason Beverland's not going to wait around and wait for a big crooked number. They've already got the bullpen up and going. That's Coutinho. We saw him pitch brilliantly yesterday in that game against South Florida. He was fantastic.
Both bullpens likely to not only be stirring, but look more like Grand Central Station today. Ground ball to shortstop. Could be 2. There's 1. The relay. Got him. That's been Bethune-Cookman throughout this weekend. They have seized the opportunities. They have gotten out of potential jams.
But what he didn't do here, he didn't rush it. He made sure he got it. He knew he had time. That's a good feed and a real good turn by Starajewski at second base.
India at third, 2 gone for Nelson Maldonado. Just to go back to Florida's path here.
Yeah.
They struggled with the number 4 seed Marist on Friday.
They did.
It took a Schwartz home run to pad a one-run lead in the 7th inning. That game came down to the wire. And then, of course, the USF game, one of the best games of this entire tournament thus far, went 12 innings. It was 1-1, and it took a couple of throwing errors to help the Gators take the lead in the top of the 12th.
I mean, Kevin O'Sullivan say this has not been their best playing.
Everybody knows how stacked Florida is pitching. And overall, the pitching has once again been good. But at some point, if you're going to go as far, Nick, as people expect to see this Florida team go in the postseason, they've got to score more runs.
They got to score more runs and not put pressure on the starters. Because if there's a chink in the armor, the middle relief is younger. It's not established like it has been in years past. The starting pitching is as good as ever. The closer is brilliant in Michael Byrne.
Michael Byrne is the reason why the Gators are still playing as good as he's been.
Don't think you won't see him in the back end today.
There's no question who has the advantage as you look at Michael Byrne, who's been terrific. You see 7 2/3, no runs allowed, 11 strikeouts. There's no question who has the advantage on the mound today. It's Florida.
Yep. But when you say that, you could have made the same statement yesterday.
That's true.
And they didn't win. In fact, they got handled pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they had Brady Singer on the mound, who's, by definition on this staff, a number 3 starter, but overall in terms of talent, certainly much higher than that. Bethune-Cookman just had to Johnny Holstaff it together, and they made it work. Maldonado with a healthy cut. Count fills up.
Today, the only thing on pitch counts is going to matter if a guy is pitching a lot of pitches in a particular inning. Pitch counts for starters, throw that out the door. These guys are going inning by inning, hitter by hitter. With so much on the line.
Tyler Kroll, a 5'10 sophomore out of West Palm Beach, Cardinal Newman High School. Sends one home, driven left center, long run for Heron, but he will track it down. They've got speed to burn out there, and they've got a 0 on the board. The Wildcats coming up to bat when we return from Gainesville.
The Southeastern Conference. Yes, it means Saturday afternoon, but it also means Monday morning and Wednesday night. It definitely means geography, history, and chemistry. And sometimes it is rocket science. Because in the SEC, it just means more.
Sold! Next up for auction, we have the Miller family, the kids, social security numbers, the mother's maiden name. Let's start the bidding up to 200.
Your information could be out there, just waiting to be auctioned off on the dark web. But now there's Experian. We monitor the dark web globally and let you instantly protect your Experian credit file from identity thieves. Plus, get up to $1 million in identity theft insurance. Try Experian free for 30 days at Experian.com/protect.
The first about to unfold, a scoreless game. Bethune-Cookman, the Wildcats, the story of this regional thus far, with a chance to bat against Kirby McMullen, a freshman, 5'11", 195 pounds. What do we know about Mr. McMullen?
Well, it's his first start of the year, and one of those deals where we're going to see a lot of pitchers today. Fastball, you can get up there 91 miles an hour. Slider, changeup, keeps the ball down, controls the running game. But again, it's going to be inning by inning, hitter by hitter, as you go through these rotations today.
Now, Bethune-Cookman has been playing very well from the plate, and the hottest guy of all has been this guy, Nate Starachevsky.
Yeah, the guy that says that his favorite actor is Tom Hanks. He comes up big all weekend, and this is the one where, I got it. As it turns out, hit the base of the ball. And he said afterward, he goes, this game will humble you. And then he follows that up with a big 2 RBI single.
He's got hits in his last 5 at-bats He's actually in the 7 hole, so we won't see him for a little bit. It'll be Sims, Lou, and Edney to start things off. Demetrius Sims, the starting shortstop, hitting .324 on the air. Danny Rodriguez led the MEAC in home runs. Edney has a bomb in this regional. Austin Garcia seems like every time he's at the plate, he gets a good swing on the baseball. As Sims skies one to right, one gone. Florida defense, usually one of the best in the country. It's had a few hiccups so far in this Gainesville Regional, 5 errors. Guthrie and Lippett, one of the best double play combinations in the country. Indy is solid at the hot corner, and Mike Rivera healthy and playing well as he almost always does behind home plate. Adonis Lou, the leading hitter on the team, hitting .363 on the year, a junior from Elmhurst, New York.
Got that unusual batting style, hands low. But talking to his coach, Jason Beverly, he says, look, he just gets it done. And that's what coaches do. Guy has a weird stance, and he's hitting .363. Just stay away from him. Let him do what he wants.
Lefty Eric Davis type look with that bat all the way down, those hands near the belt. But he pulls the trigger quickly when he has to.
They said originally he had his hands even lower. They had to raise it just a little bit.
He might be scraping his knuckles if he puts it much lower than that. That will find a hole on the right side past the diving Lippett. A one-out single. Adonis Lou continues to swing a hot bat.
There's a lot of ways to get base hits, different stances. Cooperstown's filled with different stances from those Hall of Famers and hand placements.
I remember a time where most guys in the major leagues had a closed stance. You don't see many of those anymore. A lot of straightaway and open stances now have kind of become the du jour of choice.
That was my stance, the closed stance. I like the closed stance.
If anybody could bring it back, it is Nick Belmonte.
I'm going to make a comeback, bring back the closed stance.
And those heavy sideburns that you were sporting back in the 70s, right?
No. They weren't sideburns. I still couldn't grow sideburns.
1-0 to Edney. Home run cut comes up empty. So what do we know about Bethune-Cookman? They're in the MEAC. They've got a chance to become the first MEAC team ever to make it to a super regional. And talking with Jason Beverlin, I learned something that I wasn't entirely sure about. Unlike most programs in the MEAC, they are fully funded. And what that means is they have a full allotment of 11.7 scholarships, which of course is the maximum in college baseball. For example, the number 4 seed in this tournament, Marist, not fully funded, and the story thus far, the Davidson Wildcats, who upset North Carolina in Chapel Hill. They only have 3 scholarships, 3 of them, to Short. That should be a double play, and it is. Guthrie and Lippett go to work, and McMullen retires the side.
Well, probably one of the best combos in the Southeastern Conference, getting it done one more time.
What are you doing? Getting ready for Arrigo's 4th of July sale. Arrigo has huge savings on 4,000 new Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Rams, and Fiats. And we're not doing fireworks.
I know. It's easy, no hassle buying at Florida's #1 buying dealer.
Don't like that. And our bank just want to say, yes, you're approved. Oh, for the lowest price and the biggest selection, you gotta go Arrigo. West Palm, Fort Pierce, Sawgrass.
I was made in the shadows of greatness, shaped by the hands of legacy, forged in the fires of racing. I've been challenged, tested, and proven. that track are off. The truth is, what you're made of is what you're made to do.
Yeah, Bethune-Cookman, very familiar to the dark horse role every time they come here. They're not expected to do much. They already have exceeded expectations, and if somehow they were to win this regional, yet another statistic they would defy. Remember, they lost the first game. They got blasted as a 3 seed in the first game against USF, and I think at that point everybody thought, well, okay, another good showing, 2 in Q for the Wildcats, and have a safe trip back to Daytona. But since then, they have defied the odds and trying to defy some more. Hacking away on the first pitch is Rivera. And Edney going back in short left, calling everybody off to make the grab. So here is Tyler Kroll, who Friday against USF worked 2 2/3. He did not allow a run. Gave up 4 hits. He struck out 3. They're going to try to squeeze a couple of innings out of him, and then it's truly anybody who's got an arm that does not have ice surrounding it. You see already Coutinho in the bullpen. We saw him yesterday. They had to win 2 games yesterday in a span of about 10, 11 hours just to stay alive and get ready for this one. But Jason Beverland and his staff were back at the hotel and up to about 4 in the morning trying to figure out how in the world they were going to come up with enough guys to give them 9 innings on the mound. Yesterday, he was the hero, Maldonado, but you can't bring him back out. He was a normal starter and was a long reliever yesterday, and Florida could not touch him. That's kind of their de facto ace. Now it's just a matter of an inning here, Nick, couple innings there, and just see what you can do.
Yeah, on the other side, Florida's going to do the same thing. You may see guys like Tyler Dyson. I think Langworthy's going to be up for an inning. Horvath, the center fielder, most of this tournament, he'll probably come in from the left side. And I think we'll see Jackson Coar, the Friday night starter, for an inning or 2. And, of course, in the back end, Michael Byrne.
Austin Langworthy out of Williston, Florida in the starting lineup. Again, Florida without Ryan Larson. They hope to have him back should they advance to a 3rd consecutive Super Regional. They've really missed his bat. Two, and he got him. 70 miles an hour. And that's the kind of velocity that has been missing bats for Bethune-Cookman.
12-6 curveball, just drops it in. Got him way out in front. And we talked about that DH, and Kevin O'Sullivan was just going to see who was pitching at the time this spot came up. Blake Reese is going to get the call and be inserted for Singer, as did now the DH.
You see Tim Corbin of Vanderbilt employ that strategy quite a bit.
Yep.
Blake Reese was a pinch runner in that emotional victory against USF. He scored the go-ahead run in the top of the 12th inning. A bad throw from the pitcher to first base. He went all the way from first to home. Watches that one paint the outside corner for strike 2.
As long as this game stays close, the pressure will mount in the Gator dugout.
And that is a great point, because once you get above and beyond all the statistics and all the different profiles, there is a psychological component when you are the heavily favored home team and you start being put in more and more elimination game situations. That ball actually hit him on a 1-2 pitch. And the Gators have just their 3rd base runner. I think we saw this a little bit with North Carolina. We've seen it in the past with some other top seeds over the year. Remember Stony Brook in 2012 went to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, they went down to Coral Gables, won that, then went to Baton Rouge.
Then go to Baton Rouge.
Wow.
And that LSU team was a number 7 national seed, an incredibly rowdy crowd, as you would expect there at the box, and Stony Brook took it to him. And last night we had a good crowd here. It was silenced. You could hear a pin drop late in the game.
Look for the Gators to run here. I mentioned the bonus. The catcher for Bethune has only thrown out 19% of the runners. Blake Reese, runner at first, 3 for 3 in stolen bases, but a guy they use as a pinch runner. So he's got pretty decent speed over there. It's a healthy lead as well. Saw him slip right there going back to first base. The tarp's been on and off this field, 5-6 times this weekend. There may be some loose spots.
Runner goes. Catcher has no chance. That was truly stolen on the pitcher.
Someone should have yelled "step off" because he just took off. It's almost like he counted it down and tried to time it. He timed it perfectly. That's what you do. And now if he throws over when you do that, you're obviously picked off, but it worked out.
Might have been able to stolen that one backwards. Horvath, the 8-hole hitter. 194 for the season, but he's had a good regional. Bullet to third, fielded cleanly by Edney. And the throw is on target, and already they've gotten more than they could ask for out of Tyler Kroll. Middle of the second, we are scoreless in Gainesville.
How was your vacation? Get a little sun?
Yeah, you're looking a little ripe there, buddy.
Very funny.
Hey guys, what's this tomato doing at Randy's desk?
You know, that actually reminds me, Steve. I got you something when I was over there. It's just a little something that I thought you might like. Aloha.
Mangoes can get sunburned.
Put some flavor in your break with new mango tea. Make time for Snapple.
Think month end is the best time to buy a new car? Think again. Keep calm, shop early. Like an extra $1,000 off a new BMW and over $1,500 in early month benefits. Raymond BMW, West Palm Beach and Jupiter. A world-class experience.
Mike Morgan, Nick Belmonte back with you in Gainesville. This regional matched up with Winston-Salem, and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons emerging with not too much of a struggle. West Virginia was the team that had the best chance of knocking them off. They could not do it. Lost 4-3 and eventually 12-8. So the Demon Deacons could be coming here next week. Or if Bethune-Cookman pulled off the upset, they'd have themselves a home super regional. I guess it's safe to say who they're voting for or pulling for in Winston-Salem today. Strike 3 called. Danny Rodriguez, the top power hitter for the Wildcats, watches that one crawl over the plate. Austin Garcia, the designated hitter. This guy has been a lot of fun to watch at the plate.